Blog Talk Radio.
The very first thought I would imagine the average American has is what should I dress up as? You know, they don't really think about the occult necessarily. In regard to some of the things you said, though, I definitely understand some of the satanic evil stuff, you know, when it comes to, like, you know, like the horror films and the demon mask and the zombies and whatnot, as well as the, some of the loose clothing that some women wear, you know, like the nurses' outfits or whatever. I'm not going to go any graphic than that, but, what about kids who, some girls who want to dress up like a princess, or a boy who wants to dress up like some TV character, like a Transformer robot? Like, would you advise parents against that, or is that more innocent and harmless?
Here's the deal. Here's what I advise parents, particularly Christian parents. I advise all parents, but Christian parents, I think, would be more in tune to what I'm trying to say, and that is just get your kids out of the whole Halloween thing altogether. But listen, there's nothing wrong. It's a part of childhood and make-believe to dress up. So at the alternative we do, we encourage people, if they want to get the kids involved in that kind of stuff, then dress up as Bible characters and, like you said, princesses and things like that. But because dress up and make-believe is just a part of childhood, and I wouldn't want to rob that from anybody. Games and candy and fun and festivals and parties, all that's a part of childhood. And I don't have a problem with that at all. But when you take your child and say, we're going to, quote, celebrate Halloween, let's go get your costume, now let's go trick-or-treating, and you take them out into the night and you go door to door and you're immersing them in crowds of people and children and adults who are dressed up as, chainsaw massacres and zombies and vile, demonic and witches. I mean, you're immersing your child in that occultic element, that demonic element. And so that's what I advise parents. Just think about this. I mean, parents should be smarter than Halloween. We should be smarter than our children. We should know ways of giving kids a lot of fun and at the same time keeping them totally away. We need to educate our children. I think if our children understood the pagan roots and where all this came from and its connection to the European Roman Catholic Church and how they literally brought in the Gaelic Celtic paganism because of the cultural roots of the Roman Catholic Church, I think a lot of kids would understand that, and that's a parent's responsibility, is to educate the children. And then I tell the parents, find a good church where they have a good alternative, not a church Halloween party. Ben, it blows my mind. There are churches that run haunted houses. There are churches that encourage their children to dress up like witches and demons, and they bring them inside the church and have a Halloween party. It's amazing to me, Ben. Well,
I find that pretty amazing, too. But, I got to ask for some of my listeners, some might, hearing us talk about Halloween, they might say, well, what's the harm in doing all that? How do you respond to a skeptic of that?
Well, I think I just gave the answer. The harm is that you are basically telling your children that there's nothing wrong with being involved in an activity that has its complete roots and its complete symbolism in witchcraft, paganism, and the occult. That's what you're telling your children. That's the harm. Now, so what I tell parents is there is no harm in playful dress-up. There's no harm in children and candy and games and festivals. So look for an alternative. And if you can't find a church that's doing a good one, make an alternative in your home. Just have a festival party. Call it a Jesus festival, and have your kids invite their friends over. Let them dress up as Bible characters or little children's stories characters, and have a party for them. And don't mention Halloween. Don't mention magic or witches or ghosts or goblins or the dead or demons. Or just have a party, and you'd be the hit of your kids and their friends. But the harm of it, Ben, is I don't know. I mean, that would be like taking your kids to a witch coven meeting and saying, what's the harm of it? I mean, the harm of it is you're teaching your children that occultic activities are okay. If you go to any encyclopedia, for example, or any article on the internet about Halloween, that's not educational like I'm giving, but there's just an article about it, you're going to see images of jack-o'-lanterns and scary faces and witches and demons and zombies and devils, and well, that's what Halloween's all about. So that's the harm in it, Ben. That's what I tell folks. And basically, it's up to parents. I mean, like I tell the people where I pastor the church, we don't run a cult in our church. I don't look in people's windows, and we don't run around through the neighborhood seeing if our church members are participating in Halloween activities. But what I do is I preach and teach against it. I make sure they understand the truth. I make sure they understand what it's all about, and then we provide a fantastic alternative. And that's how we do it.